Hey YouTube, this is Dean making another vid. If you like my content, please consider hitting the like button and also please consider subscribing as it is very much appreciated. Discussion piece today on bushcraft fire lighting, and I think what the kits I would suggest every bushcrafter should have. Don't take this as gospel, this is just what I think you should have. Primary fire lighting for a bushcrafter, as far as I'm concerned, would probably fall down to these two items. First and foremost, get yourself a dedicated surefire. While everyone goes on about the ferro rod, and the ferro rod is a magnificent bushcrafting item, surefire is probably your best bet. When the chips are down, you want to be able to have surefire in your kit. That comes down to a lighter. I like the clippers, personal preference. They're refillable. You can take out the thing there and refill all that. They're a disposable lighter, but they're fillable, and you can replace the flints. They're about the same price as a Bic, and as far as I'm concerned, they're a superior product. Surefire, they work. They're not as good in other, like cold and all that, but they're so cheap and they're available pretty well everywhere. The other is matches of some kind. Get the ones you like. I like these ones. These are just the Chinese extended burn storm matches. They're not too bad. They're not the best quality ones, but they burn for a little bit longer, and they're not too bad. Matches and lighters, you're pretty well covered for surefire. I added in just a couple of little Lucifer fire lighters. You can just, I put them in a little Ziploc bag just to make sure they were water resistant. You can just light that and it'll start up, no dramas. It will take a spark from a ferro rod. They're a good little product. They have a good amount of burn time. They get your fire going, ready to go. I added in 3 little of my newly acquired beeswax candles. They have a good burn time on them. So that little kit there, it's only tiny, has several ways of starting surefire, ready to go. Always have surefire ready to go. The other one is your ferro rod. I think these are ubiquitous now. Everyone's got them. I like bigger rods. They make life easy. I wouldn't go back to a smaller rod now. They just make life harder. I like the 10-inch. Gives you plenty of strike surface. I use a dedicated striker. It gives me a lot more striking surface. I can rip the spark out of it. Plenty of room to hold onto it. I've done a video about how to get the best out of your ferro rod. Yeah, get the biggest rod you can. There's 8-inch, 10-inch. Half-inch is about, half-inch diameter ones, I would say, is about the minimum I would go. Yeah, they last a long time. I've been using this one dedicated for over 6 months now. I haven't worn it down too much. It's got plenty of life in it. Get yourself a good size ferro rod and you are set to go. I added in a piece of fat wood and a pocket bellows, all in there, wrapped up between the ferro rod and my Surefire. Those two there, if you put that in your kit, you are pretty well guaranteed of making fire. They are pretty well Surefire without any problems. That comes on to my next lot. These are your fun items. For me, my first lot would be flint and steel. I would always include a flint and steel in my kits because everyone knows flint and steel is my passion. I love it. You don't have to go as extensive as I do, but I think once you get into flint and steel, you'll want to start expanding your kits. Make up a little kit like this. I've got a tinder box, slow match, some wax biscuits, jute, some beeswax candles, all ready to go, all in there, just all set up. It's pretty well a standalone kit. All I have to do is I probably add a couple of strikers because I go heavy on my strikers. Add 2 strikers in, a few stones, and I am set to go. And if you look, well, that one bag, I probably, if I just didn't put that bag in, put my 2 strikers in there, put a couple of stones in there, like I could fit 3 stones in there, just wrap them up in a little bit of cloth, and that I've got my flint and steel ready to go. No dramas. I always carry 2 steels because you could lose one, you could break one, whatever, you know. Plus I like having a few options. The last one I would suggest is getting a A4 Fresnel lens. Slide it in the back of your haversack. This thing makes solar easy. It will, once you start fooling around with these and seeing the things you can get on fire, you won't go back to smaller lenses unless you're forced to. It weighs basically nothing. Put in a haversack, it takes up virtually no room, and they make solar easy. I love them. These are fantastic. I do like, that being said, I do like my other 50mm lens as well. I have changed my stance. I used to like the little 37mm lenses. I've still got them in plenty of kits. The 50mm lens is a good lens. It's a solid glass lens. It still gets things on fire. I couldn't get fat wood to go with it. That I can get it in about a second. This I couldn't get it to go. So size does matter. But char cloth, any of the char materials, no dramas whatsoever. I can get grass and that on fire with it. It just takes a lot of persistence. Yeah, I've just added in a bit of amadou and mugwort. I've got jute and whatnot in there as well. So this kit is ready to go for my 50mm lens, and that's what I basically think is a reasonable setup for your bushcrafting fire requirements. This is my setup. If you want to have a different one, yeah, fair enough. I think these are mandatory and pretty much a given for just about every every bushcrafter is going to have surefire and a ferro rod. I don't think you'll find a bushcrafter alive that won't have this here. But these are floating. I think once you get one of these, you'll probably want to put one in. Flint and steel, yeah, most people you'll find once they get into it, will want to add it into their bushcrafters kits. It's fun. It's really good for teaching kids how to do it. They love the tactile, being able to do it with their hands and seeing the sparks and working with the stones and doing that. If you're into friction fire, have a friction fire kit already done, ready to go, and maybe have a lens and your friction fire rather than your flint and steel. But yeah, I definitely think adding in a lens is a really good option, particularly these A4 lenses, because they are so thin, they take up virtually no room, and for how effective they are, you have a bit of sunlight, it makes fire easy for it, and it's free fire. Once you can get grass, yeah, just about anything on fire, any tinders, like normal tinders on fire with one of them. So yeah, that's just just another discussion piece on what I would consider what one, two, or I consider that sort of one lot, two, three basic bushcraft firelighting kits, firelighting things for the bushcrafter that I think every bushcrafter should think about having in their kits. Yeah, post yours. Let's keep this going. Let's see what you like. And your reasons why, because yeah, I've put I've said what I like and why I included my stuff. Yeah, I definitely, my passion is flint and steel, so obviously I'm going to always like that. I actually prefer, this is my first pick, second pick, but I'm always going to have surefire, and ferro rods and lighters are that. So, like I would never just rely on these two, because while in 99% of the cases I would be able to use these, but it's that 1% that you just would have to be able to fall back onto your ferro rod or surefire. You just have to, these days, we're living in the 21st century, so why not take advantage of surefire with your lighter and your matches, like that. It's just silly if you don't. But anyway, that's my picks. Put it in the comment section what your picks would be. Yeah, and your reasons why. Yeah, keep this running. But anyway, that's my picks for what I think would what most bushcrafters should pick, or what I pick anyway, and my reasonings behind it. Yeah, thanks for watching.